You need to leave. This lounge is for real clients. Susan Carter's voice sliced through the hushed atmosphere like a knife. At 9:43 a.m. on a crisp Chicago morning, inside the sleek, glass-walled private client lounge of Pinnacle Trust Bank, those words landed like a gavel. They struck Maya Thompson hard, not because she believed them, but because she'd seen this coming. Before we dive in, let me ask you something. Have you ever been dismissed by someone who didn't realize you held the keys to the very building they stood in? If this story hits home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because in just 10 minutes, everything you think you know about power, prejudice, and banking is about to change, right here in this very lounge. Maya Thompson, 48, stepped into the branch wearing a tailored navy blazer, crisp white shirt, and understated leather flats. She didn't look like the CEO of Horizon Ventures, the multi-billion-dollar firm that had taken over Pinnacle Trust Bank 3 years ago. That was by design. Today was a test. No flashy briefcase, no diamond-studded watch, just a slim laptop sleeve and a quiet strength. She approached the counter, requesting access to the private lounge for a $10,000 withdrawal. The teller waved her through without a question. But the moment she settled into the leather chair, the air shifted. Susan Carter, the branch manager, marched over, her sharp heels clicking like a countdown. Her auburn hair was pulled tight, and her eyes were colder than the Lake Michigan wind. "We'll need proof of your fund's origin," she said, her voice flat, but her gaze piercing. Maya didn't flinch. She'd faced this before. At 25, when a teller flagged her account for suspicious activity after a tech startup payout. At 29, when a mortgage broker labeled her unreliable despite a flawless credit score. Now, 2 decades and $10 billion later, here it was again. Maya opened her laptop, pulled up a document, and slid it across the polished oak table. Before Susan could look, a voice cut in. "Move it along, lady." Bradley Hayes, 47, a white hedge fund manager in a pinstripe suit, sneered as he brushed past. With a flick of his cuff-linked wrist, he knocked Maya's laptop to the floor. It landed with a dull thud, but the insult rang louder. Maya met his eyes, calm and unshaken. Bradley didn't glance back. Jessica Lane, 31, a private banker, leaned against a pillar, arms crossed. "That kind of cash doesn't add up. Could be stolen." Her words were soft but venomous. 2 clients glanced over. One whispered, another smirked. Maya blinked once, then said, cool and clear, "Run my name." Susan shook her head. "You're not verified. This isn't a free-for-all." In the corner, Ethan Kim, a 29-year-old app developer, started filming, his phone's red light glowing like a silent alarm. "Stop," Maya said, her voice firm but even. "We handle this with facts, not videos." A tall black man in a charcoal suit, Jamal Carter, 42, stood and walked to Ethan. "Man, put it away," he said quietly. "This is bigger than a clip. It's about how we stand up, not how we go viral." Ethan hesitated, then lowered his phone. Maya met his gaze. "Words," she said. "Use your words." The room stilled. Olivia Reed, 27, sat to Maya's left, gripping her bag, her jaw tight with rage. She whispered, "This is wrong." Maya turned. "Say it louder. Let them hear." Olivia stood. "She's not the problem. You are," she said, pointing at Susan and Jessica. Jessica smirked. "Security's ready," she muttered. Bradley, now lounging against a wall, chuckled. "You really think this woman has $1 million sitting here?" He slid a crumpled note across the floor. It stopped at Maya's feet. Olivia picked it up and read aloud, "Try a check-cashing joint." A gasp rippled through the room. An older woman clutched her purse. A young black couple with a stroller exchanged looks. The lounge was no longer calm. It was alive with tension. "Enough," Maya said, her voice rising but controlled. "You're tearing this bank apart with every word you speak." Susan grinned, relishing the moment. "You're not a client. You're a fraud." Go play rich somewhere else." Maya took a breath, pulled out her phone, and dialed. "Lila," she said. "Start Protocol 7. On the other end, Lila Patel, her executive assistant, replied, "It's ready, ma'am." "You'll regret this," Maya said to Susan. "Not because I'll shout, not because I'll post online, but because you just told the wrong woman she doesn't belong in the bank she owns." Susan laughed. "Dreams don't scare me." Ethan raised his phone again. Jamal stepped forward. "We do this right. No videos, no spin. We talk." Susan nodded at Jessica, who grabbed a phone. "Calling security now. She's a fake." Maya stood firm, her calm forged in battles. Her first startup nearly tanked by a shady investor, her second weathered a market crash. But this wasn't about her wealth or title. It was about her right to exist in this space. "She's a fraud. Get her out." Susan didn't whisper. She shouted, loud enough for the entire lounge to hear, as if volume could erase her doubt. Assistant Manager Greg Nolan, 50, stepped forward, hesitant, his hands fidgeting. "This woman," Susan went on, "is a con artist acting like she runs the place." Maya turned slowly, unblinking, silent. The glass walls, the soft jazz, the polished wood, none of it softened the room's edge. It felt like a trial. Bradley added fuel. "She stole that money and now she's wasting our time. Why isn't she in cuffs?" That word, stole, hit like a spark. Two clients near the coffee bar whispered. One lifted a phone, then stopped. Jessica, still by the wall, said with certainty, "That's dirty cash. No real client asks for that. Not dressed like that." Maya absorbed the jab. Her outfit, simple blazer, flats, no logo, was deliberate. It was real. It was her. Olivia stood again, voice shaking but firm. "Stop it. You don't know her." Bradley laughed. "We know her kind. Probably hacked an account and thinks she can drain $1 million like it's nothing." Greg shifted, uneasy, his lips parting like he wanted to speak. He didn't. Ethan, phone low, looked to Maya. "I should record this." Maya shook her head. "Words, not screens." Jamal stood closer to Ethan. "Speak in the room, not online. That's how we fix this." Ethan nodded, reluctant. Olivia glared. "Security for what? A withdrawal?" Susan snapped. "You're all falling for her act. You think someone like her just strolls in with access to $1 million? Wake up." Maya faced her fully. "You sound scared. That's the sound of your career slipping away." Susan hissed. "Threats? That's your move?" Maya didn't blink. "No, just truth." Lila's voice came through the phone. "Maya, I've escalated to the ethics board. They're monitoring live. We've logged every biased word from the last 5 minutes. I've also linked the 2022 Pinnacle acquisition to your profile for real-time verification." Maya nodded. "Keep the line open," Susan scoffed. "Corporate won't save your scam." Greg turned slowly, voice low. "Susan, what if she's right?" Susan glared like he'd betrayed her. "Don't be weak." Maya stood, steady. "You demanded proof. You called me a thief. You mocked my clothes. You called security. You shamed me in front of witnesses. And I'm still here. Why do you think that is?" The room went silent. Even Bradley's smirk faded. Olivia stepped to Maya's side. "What now?" Maya said. "We wait. The truth is coming, whether they like it or not." Susan barked. "If she had money, she'd show it. People like her always act entitled until you ask for proof." Jamal turned sharply. "People like her?" Greg sank into a chair, muttering, "This isn't right." Jessica rolled her eyes. "It's protocol." Maya spoke to Lila. "Phase 3 started?" Lila replied, "Underway. Susan's compliance reports are being pulled. 9 of her past complaints involved Black or Latino clients, all marked unverified and buried. It's a pattern." Maya closed her eyes briefly, the weight sinking in. "Thank you, Lila. Keep going. Olivia's voice broke. They're erasing us with rules, with tone, with fake security concerns. Maya touched her shoulder. Not today. Susan smirked. Your little call won't change a thing. Maya's gaze hardened. I'm not here to change everything. I'm here to end this branch's history of silence. Jessica suddenly grabbed Maya's laptop from the floor and tossed it aside. It skidded into a chair. Fake junk, she muttered. Maya's eyes narrowed. Was that yours to touch or just your need to control? Jessica turned away. Greg shook his head. She's gone too far. Maya spoke again. Every second you waste talking instead of listening brings you closer to the end of your job. Susan's smile faded. You think you're a hero? Maya's tone cut like steel. No, I'm your wake-up call. Call the police. She's a financial risk. Jessica didn't hesitate, dialing fast, her voice loud. Yes, we have a woman here trying to withdraw funds under false pretenses. High amount, likely stolen. She sounded rehearsed. Maya sat still, hands folded, eyes forward. You just filed a false federal report, she said. I hope you're ready to defend it in court. Susan scoffed. That's not how this works. We protect the bank, not imposters. Greg muttered. She hasn't even raised her voice. That's what scares you, isn't it? Bradley stepped forward, flashing a gold business card. She's laundering money. Obvious. I'm a priority client and I'm stuck here because of her. Susan demanded. Show your accounts. Prove it. Right now. Her tone was a dare, not a request. Maya didn't move. She looked to the entrance as footsteps approached. Security lead Marcus Tate, 36, entered, his Pinnacle Trust badge gleaming. What's happening? He asked. Jessica pointed at Maya. She's a fraud, refused verification. Now she's causing a scene. Marcus nodded and reached for Maya's bag. I need your bag and laptop. When Maya didn't move, he knocked her purse to the floor. You're detained for non-compliance. Jamal stepped forward. That's illegal. She hasn't done anything. Olivia gripped her phone, trembling. This is what happens, even when you're quiet. Maya locked eyes with Marcus. Touch me again, and Pinnacle Trust will pay for it. Marcus smirked. Lady, you don't scare me. You don't belong here. Those words cut deepest. You don't belong here. Jamal stood between them. Back off. Ethan raised his phone. This needs to be seen. Maya's voice cracked with controlled fury. Ethan, no. We need their ears, not their eyes. Ethan lowered his phone. Maya turned to Susan. You demand my accounts like I owe you my existence. I don't owe this room anything. I've earned more than anyone here, including you. So instead of asking where my money came from, ask why you think you can question it. Lila's voice returned. Maya, Protocol 7 is active. The board has flagged Susan's record. They're pulling the 2022 audit logs. Bradley's prior warning for verbal misconduct is noted. One more strike, and his client status is gone. Maya nodded. Let it run. Susan growled. You won't win. Maya replied. You mean being black, rich, and patient? I've done it for 20 years. Greg backed away, mumbling. This isn't what I signed up for. Jessica kept talking to dispatch, spelling out financial criminal with no shame. An elderly man stood, shaking his head. This is absurd. A young Latina couple held hands tighter. Then Greg spoke, low but clear. I need to say something. All eyes turned. Susan, Jessica, what we're doing is wrong. Jessica didn't run the verification. She refused. She said police would shut her down fast. Jessica gasped. Liar? Greg nodded. I was there. You said it, knowing who she might be. Bradley shouted. You're turning on your team for her? She's bluffing. Maya stood, her voice powerful. I am Maya Thompson, CEO of Horizon Ventures, owner of Pinnacle Trust Bank. Every second you've spent humiliating me has been recorded, logged, and witnessed. The room froze. Susan paled. Greg sat. Jessica backed to the wall. Marcus blinked, stunned. Clients clapped, slowly, then loudly. Jamal stepped forward. I knew it. Fortune last year. You saved this bank. Olivia, teary, stood. She's our CEO. Ethan whispered. I should have filmed this. Maya's voice rose, commanding. The problem wasn't that you didn't know me. It's how you treated someone you thought didn't matter. Susan stammered. You set us up. Maya replied. No, I tested you. You failed. Detain her before she leaves. Susan's voice shook, desperate as she pointed at Maya. Marcus stepped forward, reaching for Maya's arm, but Maya stood firm. Touch me and you'll lose more than your badge, she said, absolute. Olivia jumped between them. Back off. She owns this place. Marcus hesitated, glancing at Susan, then Maya. The cracks showed. 2 police officers entered, their boots heavy on the marble floor. One, a black woman in her 30s, raised a brow. We got a fraud report. What's going on? Jessica stepped forward, confident. She's impersonating a client, demanded $10,000 with no proof. Possible theft. Maya turned to the officer. I'll make a statement, but not yet. A voice broke through. They're lying. Heads turned. It was Kayla Morgan, 26, a black woman in a green sweater seated by the window. She stood, shaky but sure. They did this to me last month. I tried to open a catering business account. Jessica refused my business ID, said small ventures don't qualify. I know that's not policy. Jessica snapped, That's false. Kayla held up her phone. I recorded it. Didn't share it, but I will now. The officer turned to Jessica. Did you make that call knowing she owns the bank? Jessica stammered. She didn't own it then. Maya said, I've owned it for 3 years. That's either a lie or a confession. Ethan whispered, She's the proof. Jamal told the officers, You're seeing a system fall apart, one that protected Susan, Jessica, and Bradley. You know it. The officer nodded. No arrests, but we'll write a full report. Lila's voice returned. Maya, corporate found Kayla's complaint. Jessica flagged it as ineligible. That breaks policy 5.2. Maya nodded. And Susan's role? Lila said, She approved the dismissal. Maya faced Susan, whose defiance crumbled. You told me to leave. You called me a fraud. You hid complaints. You want to hide behind Jessica's paperwork? Susan's hands shook. You didn't look like you belonged. I made a call. Maya stepped closer. That wasn't a call. That was prejudice. Bradley scoffed, heading for the door. This is dramatic. I'm out. Olivia shouted. No, you're not. You were part of this. Bradley snapped. You people are always so loud. The room erupted. You people? Ethan said. You mean the woman who owns the bank? Jamal blocked Bradley. Leave, but that card won't save you. An officer added. Sir, we need your statement. Maya spoke to the police. I want this handled in-house. No arrests yet. I want the room to see what happened. The officer nodded. You sure? Maya said. Completely. She turned to Kayla. You're brave. You shouldn't have needed to be. Kayla replied, I just wanted an account. Maya placed a hand over her heart. From today, you'll never face that again. Your account will be opened by the board, fee-free. You've earned it, Jamal said to Maya. You didn't just stop a system. You shattered it. Maya looked at him. And now I'll rebuild it. Susan muttered. This wasn't supposed to happen. Greg stood by her, silent. Maya raised a hand to Marcus. Stay. Your name's on the file, too. Olivia whispered to Ethan. She's not just firing them. She's rewriting the game. Lila's voice returned. Compliance officers arrive in 10 minutes. Maya, you have full authority to lead the debrief. Maya smiled faintly. Good. I've been ready for this longer than they know. With the lounge watching, clients, officers, Kayla, the future of Pinnacle Trust wasn't about rules. It was about accountability. Enough. Maya Thompson's voice didn't shout, but it silenced the room. She stepped forward, no longer seated, no longer waiting. She held no title plaque, no crown, yet her presence was undeniable, like a judge delivering a verdict. For 10 minutes I've endured insults, suspicion, and slander in a building my company owns. Let me make this clear. She pulled a sleek black folder from her laptop sleeve, embossed with Pinnacle Trust's silver logo. She opened it, showing it to the officer, then the room. Inside, a corporate ID, a notarized ownership certificate, and a board-signed letter. I'm Maya Thompson, founder and CEO of Horizon Ventures. I own 85% of Pinnacle Trust Bank. Starting today, I won't tolerate misconduct here.
The room gasped. Susan's jaw dropped. Greg stepped back, pale. Jessica sank into a chair. Marcus's hands fell.
Bradley leaned forward, stunned. Lila's voice crackled through. Maya has full termination authority under Directive 5C. This is logged for HR. Proceed, ma'am. Maya faced the staff. Susan Carter, you're fired for racial bias, abuse of power, and blocking client services. Susan's mouth opened, silent, her earlier bravado gone. Greg Nolan, you're fired for staying silent while a client was profiled and shamed. Greg nodded, head down. Jessica Lane, you're terminated for falsifying a risk report, making a false police call, and burying complaints. Jessica gasped. I didn't know it was you. Maya didn't waver. And if it was someone else? Jessica froze, speechless. Marcus Tate, you're dismissed for aggression, attempted unlawful detainment, and escalating conflict. Marcus walked to the lounge's edge, defeated. And Bradley Hayes? Maya said, voice icy. You're banned from all Pinnacle institutions for harassment, racism, and prior misconduct. Bradley jumped up. You can't ban me. I'm worth more than this room, Olivia shouted. Not anymore. Maya raised a hand. We don't build banks for egos. We build them for the dignity of everyone who walks in. The room erupted in applause, raw and real. Jamal nodded. That's justice, Liv. Kayla, teary, said, I thought I'd never be heard. Maya softened. You weren't just heard. You were believed. Jessica spoke, voice breaking. Wait, I need to say something. The room hushed. I buried 10 complaints this year, all from Black or Latino clients. I marked them unactionable to keep our metrics clean. Greg knew. He told me to keep it quiet. A gasp spread. Greg didn't look up. Lila confirmed. We've found those complaints. Jessica's voice is on 3 recordings. Greg's signature is on 5. Jessica sank, sobbing. I thought I'd lose my job if I didn't. Maya approached. You didn't follow. You led the charge, but today that fire's out. Maya turned to the room. Ownership isn't just a title. It's a duty. My duty is to ensure this never happens again. Lila added, Corporate has launched a full audit for this branch. Maya, you lead reform. Maya looked at Jamal, Olivia, Kayla, the clients who stayed. The strangers now changed. Let's start. This bank answers to the people it serves. The door to reform swung wide, and the future stepped through. Maya didn't pause for the applause. The moment the firings landed and Jessica's confession hung heavy, she faced the room. This isn't just about what they did. It's about what we do next. She stood by a glass table, no longer a symbol of status, but a platform for change. Effective immediately, this branch pauses all operations. No transactions, no meetings, until we redefine what this bank stands for. Clients nodded, some clapping. We're launching the Pinnacle Fairness Initiative today right here. This branch will pioneer verbal audits, diversity accountability, and a values oath for every employee who stays. Lila's voice projected. Documentation's ready. Ethics officers arrive soon. Corporate's approved. Olivia raised her hand. What's a verbal audit? Maya smiled gently. We don't just check accounts, we track words. What's said, what's ignored, who's treated like they don't belong. Jamal nodded. That's a game changer. Ethan whispered. That's human. Maya's smile grew. Exactly. Then Marcus Tate cleared his throat. All eyes turned. He looked weary, not defiant. I need to speak, he said. I didn't just fail. I helped plan this. Jessica and Susan approached me 3 months ago. They said corporate was auditing, and we needed to hide complaints. My job was to flag problem clients, based on looks, questions, or pushback, before they filed reports. The room went silent. Maya's gaze sharpened. Did Greg know? Marcus nodded. He knew enough to stay quiet. Lila confirmed. We found 4 altered reports with Marcus's name. Marcus didn't argue. I deserve the consequences. But I'm speaking because you, Maya, showed me what real leadership is. I've never worked for someone I respected until today. Maya didn't soften. You intimidated clients. You nearly had me arrested. Now you want grace? Marcus shook his head. I want accountability. There's a client flag list in the system. Longer than you think, Lila replied. I'm pulling it now. Access frozen for review. Maya faced the room. This is why we reform. Here, now, where silence let bias thrive. We end it today. Clients clapped ready. Olivia stepped closer. Let us help. Maya nodded. We'll do it together, starting with truth. The room, once toxic with silence, came alive with voices, confessions, and a culture cracked open for change. Maya stood tall as the applause faded, not in victory, but in resolve. She scanned the lounge, now a battlefield for transformation. Compliance officers arrived, reviewing flagged reports. One handed Maya a document. Provisional action items, board approved, he said. She read, nodded. We start here. Her voice was steady. Effective immediately, all high net worth branches mandate verbal conduct audits. No more hiding bias. Every branch follows Chicago's lead. Lila added, Corporate terminated Bradley's accounts and is reviewing his firm for bias violations. Maya glanced at Bradley's empty chair. He had power, she said, but not integrity. Olivia asked, What's next? Maya replied, We build a bank that prevents injustice, not just reacts to it. That's my legacy. Ethan added, You didn't just fire them. You exposed a culture. Maya smiled, tired. Then we keep exposing it until it can't hide. A voice rose, older, hesitant. One more thing. Heads turned. It was Harold Bennett, 72, in a tweed jacket, a retired Pinnacle executive. I trained Susan, Greg, Jessica, he said. I ran Midwest operations for 20 years. We taught them to prioritize client fit. Not race or class outright, but with code words like polish or alignment. We built a system where rejection was easy. I'm ashamed. Maya approached. Why now? Harold swallowed. Your voice showed me I had one too, and never used it. Maya nodded. Use it now. Harold turned to the officers. I'll give a deposition and help reform training. An officer led him aside. Lila spoke. The client flag list, 19 names, no prior issues. 16 are Black or Latino. It's under review. Maya exhaled. This wasn't one case. It was a culture. Olivia touched her shoulder. You broke it open. Kayla added. I came to start a business. You gave me a future. Maya smiled. You'll start that business in a bank that sees you. She faced the room, her voice clear. Let this be the last time silence outlasts truth. Justice doesn't come from posts. It comes from who we are when no one's watching. I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I stood and spoke. If I can do that, so can you, wherever you are. As she led the officers to the branch offices, Lila's words echoed. Pinnacle Trust will never be the same, And that's the point. The door closed, but the lesson, the legacy, stayed in the lounge where silence was broken for good. If you've been doubted, dismissed, or denied, let this remind you, your voice matters. Justice starts with truth. Share this, stand with us, because the next story might be yours.